Social paralysis sucks. And I know very well what that feels like. And therefore, the purpose of this video is to give you all the insights that you need in order to really understand what happens in your mind when you are experiencing the social paralysis and what you can do in order to overcome that. Okay. So, first of all, what is this feeling? Um, I believe everyone experienced this feeling to some degree. Everyone had experiences where they felt socially paralyzed because they didn't know what to say, they didn't know what to do, and it just felt like they appeared as if they are calm, right? Like they weren't moving, they weren't saying anything, but inside they were dying, and you wanted to say something, you wanted to do something, you wanted to express something. It felt as if everyone is looking at you, and as if you have no control over what's going to happen. And there's a high chance that if you say something wrong or bad or weird or stupid, you're going to lose a lot of approval, a lot of validation from everyone who is around you. Now, when this happens on a date, this what happens is that the guy usually goes in his head and he starts to think extremely hard, like, what do I need to say in order to make her like me? What do I need to do in order to appear confident? What do I need to do in order to be seductive, in order to appear flirty? And all these thoughts. And the harder you're trying to think about that, the harder you're trying to make yourself do that, the less you're actually doing that. And the more it feels like that, right? The more the experience is not actually happening, but it feels like the experience is being crafted somehow in the head, and it doesn't feel it's not enjoyable, right? It's the same thing like usually guys who are doing pickup had a lot of experiences with this. They learned so many techniques, they learned so much stuff, so many various ways of speaking with women and doing things on the date and doing things when they're approaching women, that when they're actually doing it, they feel so disconnected from their emotions and from themselves that it's not enjoyable. They literally become social robots. And of course, when these guys like this find a date, eventually they're going to get into a lot of trouble because the mask, I mean, the mask of this confident guy from the techniques just falls away, and the real them, the real self, is shining. Well, shining. Usually, it's not that shining. It's from behind. This is an insecure person who doesn't know how to deal with these things, right? This is when it comes on a date. When it comes to the social groups, again, you might experience this in high school, you might experience it in business setting, you might experience it with friends outside. But the feeling is like you are there are people around you, you are having some kind of interactions with others, and it feels like you want to express yourself, you want to say something, you want to be part of the group, you want to belong in the group of people, be friends with everyone, but somehow you can only figure out what is the right thing to do, what is the right thing to say. You're having a lot of fear and a lot of weirdness that if you say something, if you express yourself, either it's not gonna be good enough, or if you actually push yourself and you make yourself believe that it is good enough, you will be rejected. And the fear of this is so big that it's like for your autopilot, let's go, so like for your subconscious mind, it doesn't feel safe enough to say that. So you'll just be there. And now here we go to the paralysis itself. When you are in this state, your mind is creating two opposing intentions. One intention is to be funny, awesome, amazing, confident, flirty, social guy. And you're saying, I have to be this. I have to be this. Where did it come from? Stuff from your past. What you believe you should be like. This is the ego. What you believe you should be like. What you believe that guys who are confident are successful in groups and with women are like. This is what you think you should be like. I must be funny. I have to be entertaining and all this stuff. But at the same time, because your nervous system is not used to this amount of tension, doesn't have enough reference experiences to experience this, is saying you, dude, but you tried in the past and it's not safe. If you do that, you're gonna feel like shit. It's gonna feel like crap, and you probably are going to feel very embarrassed and very awkward, and it's not worth it. So this part of you is saying you can't. You can't. No, like I know it sounds like a good idea, but how about this? How about this? How about this? And it completely destroys all the ideas that are coming here. You want to express yourself, you have probably, if you're creative and you're fearless, you will have millions of ideas what you can possibly do. But if you have fear, and the fear is strong enough, the fear is going to sabotage all of this. So what's going to happen is that you're going to be like a Tony Robbins used to call this crazy eight, right? Like first you go down and it feels like shit. No, this is gonna be awkward. This is gonna be weird. I can't say that. It's gonna be awkward. And then you're gonna be, but I want to express myself. I want to say something. I want to have fun. I want to make jokes. Sometimes it even flips from the extreme, right? Sometimes it feels like now I have to express because everybody's looking at me already. I haven't said anything for I don't know how long, and it's I don't feel good anymore. I have to say at least something so that they don't think I'm weird. And then you're gonna go then you're gonna go this direction again, right? And it just goes like this, and it goes and it goes and it goes. And when this is happening, it's like you want to sit down and stand up at the same time. Try to sit down and stand up at the same time. You can't do that, right? You're not gonna do anything. You're not gonna do anything, but at the same time, in your mind, you're gonna be creating an extreme effort. You're gonna try really, really hard. But no matter how hard you're fucking trying, nothing's gonna happen because you're wanting to sit down and stand up at the same time. It's like you want to do something and not do it at the same time. What you're gonna do, you're gonna neutralize in the middle in the paralysis. And the stronger the forces that are pulling you to both sides, the stronger you will be centering yourself in the middle, which is the paralysis. Now, underneath the paralysis, there is several things happening. First, there are emotions, right? There are emotions you would feel if you were to express yourself. And because you don't know how to handle these emotions, you don't know how to release these emotions, you are trying to figure them out with your head. And I used this metaphor that trying to figure out your emotions with your head is like trying to make a coffee with a toaster. Again, no matter how much electricity you put in coffee, in the coffee machine, in the toaster, you're never going to make a coffee because toaster is going to make only toasts. Your mind is there to solve problems, to intellectually understand things conceptually, to make you put abstract ideas into practice and all this stuff, to create your future and then emotionalize it. This is what mind is good for. But when it comes to emotions, for emotions, your mind is useless. You have to get the mind out of the way so that you can feel and so that you can let your body naturally process your emotions. So emotions is the first layer. If you go even deeper, all emotions are driven by several desires, core desires. And there's desire for control, desire for safety, and desire for approval. Why is it these three? It's because when you are born as a child, you have no idea what's going on in the world, right? You have no fucking clue what's around you. Imagine that you open your eyes suddenly and you see all this stuff. You have no idea why things are the way they are. You just know that you just know you don't know nothing, right? That's how you start. Over time you learn that actually it feels nice when you are fed, and it feels nice when you are in skin contact with your mom, with the person who is taking care of you. And this is how you feel safe. And if you don't feel that for a long enough time, you start to be scared, you start to be worried, and what's going to happen is that you will start to long this safety. This is the desire for safety. It emerges far before you can remember anything at all, right? So this is the wanting safety feeling. Now, if you don't have safety, how do you get safety? Well, first, you need to find a way to control yourself so that you get the approval of those who give you care and safety so that you can actually feel that safety, right? So let's move fast forward a few years. You are older, and now, in order to feel safe, you have to know that the person who is taking care of you has to like you, which is, for instance, your mom. So you will control your behavior in order to get the approval of the person so that you can feel safe. Now, every single negative emotion without exception is driven by these three things: wanting approval, wanting control, wanting safety. At the same time, if you are experiencing these three feelings, obviously, if you would be having them all the time, you would be bored to death. So you also want to express your individuality and experience a little bit of adventure, experience a little bit of rascalness, a little bit of naughtiness. So when you feel safe enough, you also want to feel unsafe, right? That's the nature of adventure. That's the nature of, actually, if you're single, of approaching a girl in the street and speaking with her, asking for a number. There is a little, like, an element of almost adrenaline to this, right? If you are having control all the time, you want to lose control, right? You want to immerse yourself in an environment where you don't know anything at all. So you have to figure it out. So you learn. So you develop as an individuality. And also, you want to risk losing disapproval. You want to risk losing approval. Why? Because if you are having all the approval all the time, you're basically going with the flow all the time, right? It means if all the world likes you all the time, you're never going to bring anything new. You're never going to do anything. You're never even going to have fun, right? Like if you are with your girlfriend, or if you're on a date and you just say something mean to her, like, "Oh my God, you're such a bitch," but you don't say it in a way that's mean, and that, like, you're not trying to be a dick. You're just trying to have fun, and you say that, and she's like, "Oh, what did you just say?" And suddenly it's funny. Suddenly it's enjoyable. Suddenly there's this pleasure, there's flow. So you also want this approval, but you want it in a playful way, right? So it's wanting approval, wanting control, wanting safety. When you are in social paralysis, you're extremely trying to get control, at the same time knowing you can't. It's extremely trying to get approval, but at the same time having extreme fear that you won't get it. And it's the same time you want to make yourself feel safe, but at the same time it feels like whatever you do is not going to be safe. So there's a lot of contradiction and paradoxes. Maybe this I went a little bit too technical on this. But if you're working through, and I mean, these three are stored in your subconscious mind, and they have, in your subconscious mind, there are all the memories of every single experience when you felt rejected, when you didn't feel safe, when you didn't feel you have control, or you didn't feel that you have approval. Now, when you find yourself outside and you want to approach a girl, or you want to have fun with your girlfriend, you want to create like a spark, you want to do a little bit flirt, or you want to have fun with your friends, and suddenly intention comes up that you want to express yourself, and you want to maybe like poke into them, and this intention comes up. What happens is that your subconscious mind immediately evaluates if it's safe, if you can have control. And if it doesn't, the discomfort you're feeling, all the emotions you're feeling, is all an expression of these repressed desires, desire for control, approval, safety. So if you want to get out of social paralysis, the best thing you can do is first stop thinking. Because the more you think, the more you get lost in trying to figure out what is the right thing to do. And because this problem is emotional, and emotions are driving the thinking, what happens, of course, is that you're just going to go faster and faster and faster. And every time you approach some kind of end, it's going to pull you right back and say, "Nah, that's not it." Then you go another direction. "Yeah, that's not it." And you go another direction. "Yeah, that's not it." Right? And eventually, if you don't do anything, or if you do something weird, what your mind is probably going to do, because this is how it works for most of the nice guys, you're going to go to the pattern of beating yourself up, where you point the anger that you should have pointed in the courage and in taking action. You point this anger against yourself to punish yourself, because subconsciously you're believing that if you do that, if you punish yourself, you will learn. Right? If I beat the crap out of this student, he's going to learn faster, because now he's going to be motivated. Bullshit. You're not going to be motivated. You're going to be more afraid. So the next time, the stake will be even higher, because now you know that the last time when you tried to do that and you failed, you were beating yourself up like crazy. So the first thing to do is to stop thinking. The first thing to do is to stop thinking. Second thing to do is to stop beating yourself up. And these two usually go hand in hand. The third thing to do is to start allowing yourself to feel emotional tension, and work with tension, and work on your tension skills, so that instead of thinking what is the right thing to do, you just do the first thing that you feel like doing, and then you handle the tension that goes with that, and you release all the emotions that go with that, that come up. This not only is a process that is increasing and expanding your confidence as a man, it's also a process that is healing your past. It's like therapy. It's just you're having fun if you can take responsibility for yourself, and you can be proactive with your self development. You're healing because when you find yourself in a situation that in any way reminds you of your past, of the emotions that happen in your past, and these desires that you have accumulated in your subconscious mind in the past, you have an opportunity to let it go, to process the tension, and let it go. If you know how to do emotional releasing, that's fucking amazing because you've probably been already doing it. If you don't know how to do that, then you're probably thinking about that and you're stuck in one place. There is a lot of communication techniques that you can learn. There is a lot of guaranteed phrases that you can learn. And if the only thing that you want is to get laid, you can you can manipulate your way through the date and you can get laid. But I think this is really not nice. I think it's completely without integrity. I think it's completely wrong. I think it's much easier to go on a date, and it's much easier. It's not maybe easier, it's more simpler, and it's much more fun to go on a date and enjoy yourself as you are on the date. The same with the relationship, the same with the social life, and release everything that's standing in the way that's standing in the way. Releasing and working with emotional tension is the number one thing I'm working on with the guys who are dealing with the nice guy pattern in my program. So if that sounds like you and you want to learn how to handle tension, learn how to stop overthinking, learn how to release emotions, and work on your natural masculine confidence, which is something you already have inside you. It's just covered with layers of conditioning and social dysfunctional social conditioning. If you want to work on your natural masculine confidence, then go to this website and book a call with me, because on this call, what we're going to do is we're going to have a look at where you're at, what is driving these patterns of yours, what is at the cause of why you are behaving the way you're behaving, why things aren't working the way you want to. And when we have this cause, what we're going to look at is what would you like to experience? How would it look like if it was exactly the way you want it? Now, when we have these two, I'm going to show you what my solution would look like. If it's something you would like to do, actually, if you're 100% confident that's something that you want, then we can talk about whether or not we are a good fit to work together. Okay, so this call is free. Go to buymatters.com/book now, book the session today, and I'm going to talk to you soon. Bye bye.